Renzo, the expression I picked for today's show is for me to vent about something that is happening that I'm very mad about.
You're mad?
Yes.
Why are you mad?
I'm mad at the soccer players who
Oh,
are like pretty much, okay, let me start by the sentence.
what's the expression?
The expression is agarrarse por las mechas.
Agarrarse por las mechas.
Yes. How would you translate that?
Literally is to grab by the... Okay, so we'll get into this when we talk about the origin, but mechas would be strands of hair, clumps of hair.
Yes, exactly. And what is this show again?
Oh, right. This is just a Spanish phrase. Companion podcast to News in Slow Spanish, where each week we examine the origins, the uses, the fun facts about common idiomatic expressions. We do it in English, of course, because we're just having fun with these. But if you want to learn Spanish, News in Slow Spanish is the way to go. That's where we... What do we do, Maria?
Well, we teach Spanish through the news, through current events at a slow pace, so it's easier to understand. If you have tried to watch one of the soccer World Cup games,
With the Spanish commentary?
with the Spanish commentary, you would understand why we decided.
Yeah, that's definitely not slow.
That's an example of the opposite of what we do. It's Spanish read with pauses in between words.
That's right. But that's News in Slow Spanish. This, again, just a Spanish phrase. And today's phrase, agarrarse por las mechas, literally translates to grab by the hair, to keep it simple.
Yeah, exactly.
But why are we grabbing by the hair today, Maria?
Because I need to vent. Because I do not watch Ultimate Fighting. I do not watch hockey. I do not watch horror movies because they're gory. But I love watching football, or as they call it here, soccer. I don't know what soccer is. I call it football.
Football, yes.
I used to watch football because it is an elegant sport. It's a sport where it's beautiful. But I've been watching some of the games. It looks like an ultimate fighting game. There was a Canadian player who broke his leg. There was a player from, I think he was, from the Netherlands who had a cut in his head. They keep on pretty much punching each other, trying to not to get caught, but it becomes like a sport where everybody's agarrándose por las mechas.
That's right. So they're playing dirty. They're grabbing each other by the hair. They're getting very aggressive and violent, which is, I have to comment a little bit. It is unexpected for some people, especially those that maybe are watching football for the first time with the World Cup or just don't watch it that often. Soccer or football has this reputation of histrionics, like players selling their injuries a little, exaggerating it.
There's a viral meme that says, and I thought women were the dramatic ones until I started watching the World Cup.
But the truth is that, yes, they can get these games, matches, players can get very violent sometimes. That's why, one of the reasons we have the red card.
Yes, but still, they still do things that are very violent. And I don't know, maybe I remember the World Cup where Zidane ended up giving a head bump.
Oh, a headbutt, yes.
Yeah, in the final game of that World Cup.
I believe that was 1998.
Yes, that was 1998 because France won the World Cup against Italy.
Yes, even with the headbutt.
Even with
which
that.
Which got him expelled from the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Luis Suarez from Uruguay at some point beat the earlobe, or he was beaten. It's
wow.
So crazy.
That does sound like an Ultimate Fighting championship match.
Honestly, and there are some teams that are more aggressive than others. I've been watching the games with my goddaughter, and we're like, I want the other team to win because this is not a way to win when you're being so aggressive.
Because they're playing too dirty?
Yes, maybe? I want them out of the World Cup. This is not the way to win.
So, agarrarse por las mechas. How do we use it?
Well, when you're in an argument, and it gets very heated, and suddenly cut to, you're already fighting, grabbing each other by the hair, and like when the fight becomes physical, right?
That's right. But is there also a way of saying maybe I'm wrong. This is something that I remember from a long time ago, how we used it colloquially. is it also sometimes when a situation is so frustrating that you yourself, you say, me agarro por las mechas, like it's this situation is so frustrating that I it's like I'm pulling my hair out. Is that correct?
I think you can, but to me, it's usually used with fights. And it doesn't have to be literal. You can say, Meloni y Trump se están agarrando por las mechas.
Okay, so I think that's more clear. It's about confrontation between two people or two groups.
Or they're very ready to agarrarse por las mechas. You know, when, like, let's say there's a big political fight, these guys are almost ready.
Yeah.
Or in a Congress session, they almost se agarraron por las mechas. There was a heated fight.
You know what? I think I'll this is a good opportunity to make a little correction. Just now when I was talking about the sense of frustration, I think that's jalarse los pelos, which is so close, pull your hair. But there it's more about, like, this is so maddening, this is so crazy that I want to pull my own hair out. But no, agarrarse por las mechas is about a fight.
Which also makes me think, the same way there's tons of idiomatic expressions with the word cat, there's also many idiomatic expressions with the hair. I don't know why.
That's true.
Salvarse por un pelo, agarrarse por los pelos.
Agarrar las mechas.
Por las mechas. I wonder why. But what is the origin of this exact expression we're talking about today?
Well, you hit the nail on the head, which is a different expression. But when you were talking about fighting, because that's exactly where it comes from. So if you go back to, often when we talk about folkloric origins or popular culture origins, we have to go like to the Middle Ages. And in Europe, Middle Ages, not tradition, but rather the idea of pulling each other's hair became associated with brawling, with fighting, with hand-to-hand combat. And as I did a little digging, something really interesting came up, which is that even in war, hand-to-hand combat, when a battle got that close, hair pulling as a desperate measure was often a real concern. And that's what prompted a lot of different cultures where men had their hair, they kept their hair long, to tie it up in a bun for battle or to cut it off for battle.
That makes me think that's probably why the military shave their heads, because an enemy can grab you by the hair and win the fight.
Like, maybe you're wearing a helmet, but if that comes off and you have long hair, that becomes a liability.
That is fascinating.
So it really comes from that, I don't want to call it tradition, but the habits of hand-to-hand combat. And in that case, long hair really is a concern, a liability.
Wow. And isn't that also cultures where you used to have long hair and when you surrender, you cut a part of your hair?
Oh,
or when the winner cuts part of their hair? Yeah, hair is very culturally relevant.
Exactly.
In many cultures.
And one last angle for this is that for a long time, there was also a sexist association with the expression where it was believed or implied that women were more likely to pull each other's hair in a fight. But what we know, in fact, is that both men and women are equally likely to pull hair during a fight if that is available to pull.
Well, we have seen men can be very, very dramatic and very, very aggressive.
Yes.
But it also makes me think of Sansón y Dalila. She cut his hair.
That's right. And it was the source of his strength.
Of his power.
Samson and Delilah.
Exactly. Yeah. Very interesting. But we ran out of time, unfortunately. That was very fast. But let's hope the upcoming games of the World Cup are a little bit more
a little cleaner,
civilized.
A little more civilized. Que no se agarren por las mechas, because we want to see a clean game, please.
Exactly. And the fans too, please, no se agarren por las mechas. If your team doesn't win, just congratulate the other the rival team instead of agarrarse por las mechas. We want a lot of football in the future, so we don't want events being canceled for aggressivity.
Exactly. And we'll be back next week with more expressions to explore in Just a Spanish Phrase.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.